Welcome, crafty friends. Annie Collins here for Pixie Dust Design. Today we're going to create this Santa gift bag. This is part of the Christmas in July release. There's a promo code here, and I'll show it to you again and put it in the description box. We're going to create using the new Santa and Elf topper add-on set for the interchangeable bag topper set. So this die set has 25 dies. It cuts 37 pieces, and 6 of these dies cut multiples. So, which is great, to cut multiples for you. Now, yours will come in the proper packaging. I'm on the design team. We get some of these early. This is everything you'll need to create Santa and an elf. So here I created a little elf, and I attached him to a little lunch bag. So here I used this one background, horizontal for his little head and then vertical for his little body. These are the pieces to accent the elf. This here is one of the pieces I use for the body, and then the smaller one I used to create his little face. You have everything here. There's his ears, which will cut multiples for you. That's his little bell for his little hat, the buttons, his nose and mouth. And then you have 2 options for your eyes. Here's the little part to decorate his hat, his little collar. Those are those little bells for his collar and his hat. The belt right there, the buckle. And then you have this little piece here. It cuts the little ruffle here where the buttons will go. This is super cute, super easy to put together. Like I said, I put mine on a mini lunch bag. I bought those at the grocery store. This is going to be great to add little treats to hand out to the kids and at during the holidays. So um, you just stand it up like this, fill it up, and have these little cute handles. Now the handles I used were from a different die set, and I'll show you really quickly. But everything here is to create the 2 oh my goodness, to create the elf and the Santa, or that's in this die set, which is the Santa and Elf topper add-on die set. All right, for our handles, I used the bracket, I believe that's what they are called. Yes, those are the bracket bag toppers, and it cuts 1 large die, and it'll cut them 1 big piece, and then I cut mine apart. You can leave them, fold it over and leave it together, but since I was using it in this type of bag, I cut it apart, and I'll show you the same thing I do with the Santa. For his cheeks, his nose, and his mouth, I just used a little ink in his ears just to give a little definition. We'll do the same with Santa once I get there. Just brought in a little light pink. For Santa, we're going to create it a little bit different. So I'm going to use for Santa the actual interchangeable bag die set. That's where I got this from. That creates the base. Let me see if I can find I have the die loose on my desk somewhere. I used the Elf and Santa add-on, but I brought in the base here, as you can see, and that cuts this piece. And it also puts in your indication where to do your folds. That's the bottom and the sides to your bag. For the handles, I'm bringing in the interchangeable heart bag topper. That's this. This is the handle. And it cuts out, like I said, 1 entire piece. And then I'm gonna snip it so I can have 2 handles, 1 for the front, 1 for the back, because I want my bag to be open. And I'll show you that. Super simple. Now you can leave it together because you can use these for, like, if you have a cellophane bag, you can create this little topper and then stick your cellophane bag, or you can cut them apart. This shows you in the back. See, this is an add-on to your basic set, which is the interchangeable bag topper box and die set. So these are add-ons to that. Okay, so now that we know what the heart bracket one is, there's like a variety of the handles for you to choose from. And I'll have those linked for you below. So I have our base here. And like I said, it indicates here, it gives you the fold lines, and you just gently fold them to create your little gussets on the side of your bag. That's all that is. And then those little tabs are where we're going to attach our panels to create our bag. So you just give them a gentle fold on the creases, like so, and that'll create your little gussets on the side. And you do that to both ends. That's all the prep you're going to need to do to this piece. Now we'll set it to the side. We'll set the handle to the side. And now let's go over quickly the pieces. I cut two of the panels out of red cardstock. One will be our back part of our bag, and one will be the front that we'll use to build our Santa. So you can use the larger piece or the smaller piece. I use the smaller because I want a smaller bag because I'm going to put treats in there. As you can see, that's where I cut my nose and my mouth out of. So I have a soft pink tone that'll be for his skin. And then these are the pieces to decorate. From red cardstock, I also cut the top of his hat. I know it looks funny. That's the little other portion of his hat. That's the brim of his hat, mustache, and beard. Now remember, they have square shapes, so the beard is going to be squared. There's his pom-pom, his eyes, and his nose. Now here's an image of it. When you go on your packaging, you'll have this on the back. Like I said, we get it early, so I didn't have the actual packaging, but I wanted to show you. So let's jump into it. To create our bag, this is the base, so I'm going to put adhesive on one of those longer tabs, grab one of the red panels, and I'm going to adhere it like so. That's it. Press it in place, make sure it's nice and firm. Pull this little piece, tab in, adhesive, and line it up. Make sure the edges are all lined up. Sorry, I'm slightly off screen. There we go. That's all I'm making sure that it's nice and lined up. Do the same to the other side. Bring it in, line it up, and press it in place. Now give it a nice firm press. That's it. That's the back of your box or your bag. We're going to set that to the side and work on the front portion of our bag. I'm going to adhere the skin tone to the other portion. So see, that would be adhered right on there. So I'm going to adhere this little skin tone here, like so. Line that up, press it in place. Now don't worry about the cutouts, they will be covered. I'm going to start with Santa's beard. I'm going to place it down because his hat and all the other items slightly overlap. So I want his beard. There we go. First down. I have some Santa's mustache. We'll set that to the side. We're going to bring in his hat now. This is the top portion of the hat. As you can see, that will cover those cutouts. And then they meet up like so. His brim of his hat. Now his is like the white straight panel, the little, simple brim. And the elf is little triangle shapes. Blue Santa's brim. And then here's this little thing. This piece you cut for either Santa or the elf. It's just a little sloop down of his hat. And then here's his mustache. You see how it overlaps? So that's why we're building slowly. All right. So here's his mouth. And I cut it the same color as his skin. And I don't want it to be the same color. So I'm going to add some pink to it to make it a little bit darker. And then I'm going to grab his nose and just put a little bit of inking on the edge of the top of his nose because, Santa has that red little button nose. All right, I'm going to clean my desk so I don't get ink all over. Now, this is when I was supposed to put Santa's cheeks, but I forget. It's okay. Santa's cheeks don't have to be rosy. You can do it now. This is why I suggest. And the other tip I suggest is don't adhere it, just lay the mustache down so you can get proper placement for his mouth. You just barely see Santa's mouth peeking through, but it looks cute when you have it peeking through. I laid the mustache down, just held it down and tucked it so that I have proper placement. For his nose, I'm going to use a little foam adhesive to pop it up so that it has a little dimension. I didn't do that for the elf. The elf, I kept him flat. There we go. His cute little nose. And now I'm going to go ahead and place the little rest of his hat because it overlaps his mustache. So I wanted to get the mustache down first. And here's his little pom-pom. Now this you can pop up as well. I'm just going to adhere it nice and flat here. For his eyes, the eyes has two separate dies and it cuts two different eyes. The ones that you see on our elf and the one I'm going to use for Santa. Same thing, it's one die that cuts out the backing, which I cut from white. You can cut your eyes from any colors. I chose black for both to keep it simple. But you can do Santa's twinkly blue eyes if you prefer. Okay, so I'm going to adhere those layers together. Real simple, quick and easy. As you know, Pixi does this all the time for their eyes. They cut a basic white layer background and then the detail with the highlights for the front, which is perfect. All right, so I'm going to lay my eyes out, decide how I want them to flow. And then I put adhesive where I believe my eyes will go. I'm going to grab my embellishment wand and place my eyes. I shift them around to make sure which direction I like. I like this way because it'll look like he's smiling, get the eyes, that little twinkle smile. All right. And I go ahead and adhere it down. Oops, adjust it to the eye. There we go. And now look how cute his little face is. Like, this is when I realized, oh, I forgot to do his cheeks. So now I'm going to try, and it doesn't quite fit, and I don't want to end up getting pink on his hat or his mustache. So I'm going to opt out. But so now Santa's face is complete. Let's adhere this to our bag. But first, I want to add our handles. So I'm going to snip them apart right there on those little tab areas. Again, you can leave them together if you're adhering this to a closed bag, like a cellophane bag with left for your cookies and other treats. But since this is going to be an open bag, I'm going to go ahead and snip it apart and adhere it. Now, there's a stitch detail on this handle, and I'm going to put the stitch detail on the outside of my bag. On this part, since I want Santa's face to show and not be covered up, I'm going to stick the handle on the behind the face like so. So I'm just going to stick it like right there, get that nice and even. And then we're just going to adhere this onto those tabs the same way. We just put a little bit of adhesive. There we go. And then I'm going to line this up. It takes me a minute to just get it. Just take your time and line it up. There we go. The main thing is to get the edges to meet up there and just press from the inside, checking that your edges are lined up. Now, if you can't reach in, you can use something like a bone folder or a chopstick or a pencil just to rub those edges. You want to make sure that those tabs adhere. Once you get them where they need to be, you can press on the sides. Mine shifted, so I'm just adjusting. Sorry, I'm slightly off screen. It's just me taking the bag apart and shifting it over, putting a little more adhesive. There we go. Once I get it where I need it to be, I'll press it and hold it for a second because I have glue. And then I push on the gusset areas. And now my bag is perfect to fill and set up with little goodies. I can't wait to fill these and hand them out to the little kids. They're going to be, this is perfect. You can add gift cards to it as well. Again, this is the Santa and Elf add-on set for the interchangeable bag topper box die set. And I also use the interchangeable bracket topper, bag topper, and the heart interchangeable heart bag topper. I'll have all of this in the description box below for you. All the details to create. I'll have all the links to all the dies for you in the description box. Super cute. You can use just make the faces like I did for Santa, or you can use the just the bodies. You have lots of great options with this. So thank you for being here. I hope you had found some inspiration, and I hope you make some of these. Don't forget, we're having the Christmas in July release, starts today, the 13th, through the 19th. You use the code CMAS26 to get 15% off your order from the 13th through the 19th. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe.